Bitcoin, it's less than one of my favorite technical mantras is it's going to go up because it went up, or it's going to go down because it went down. That has been the case in Bitcoin in the stock market for the last at least decade. And there was a good reason for it: liquidity. The liquidity is still negative at the moment. And this is something that hasn't happened in my lifetime. We've seen this much negative liquidity, despite things like leading indicators showing we're going to have a recession. Now, Bitcoin is still risk asset. It's gone up a lot, and I can see it getting back towards that mean around 10,000. Long term, I think it's one of those things that's supposed to be a buy and hold. But for traders who bought around 31, they might get stopped around 15, make a new low, maybe a double bottom, and then maybe we'll see where it goes. But again, this is the part of the macro it fits in. It's just the leading indicator. If it's such a good leading indicator, why is it doing so poorly in the last few months?
And with that, you have a quick excerpt from Mike McGlone. We're going to hear more from them before the end of this video, so make sure you watch this one to the end. We have a jam-packed video. Let's get straight to it. Taking a look at the Bitcoin price chart. At the current time it's recording, we see Bitcoin coming in right above 26,000. And you see what's happening. When in doubt, zoom out on the charts. Looking on the charts, you see we did bottom out back around October, November of 2022. And what has Bitcoin just been doing? We've just been stair-stepping our way up. And now, look here. We're still putting in higher highs and higher lows, but we have to look and see and note the trend. And one thing to note is that this is sort of making a rounding top. So could this rounding top just continue to the downside to see lower price action? What Mike McGlone is talking about potentially making lower lows and potentially retesting the levels we've seen back in October of 2022, or going even lower and going down to that $10,000 threshold, and then see what Bitcoin does from there. Will this be an optimal opportunity? Will retesting the lows be an optimal opportunity? Or is this already in? Please leave your comments below. But one thing to note, the trend's your friend until the end, and we're just stair-stepping our way up, still putting in higher highs and higher lows. Taking a look at the total crypto market capitalization, we see the same thing. The total crypto market cap bottomed out at roughly around $727.5 billion, and we just been doing the same thing, stair-stepping our way up. But there's one thing to note here. Look here, this didn't put in a higher high. This is when Bitcoin put in a higher high right here with the price action, but the total crypto market capitalization did not. And right now, at the current time it's recording, we are below the 20 and the 200 moving averages. The 20 is the orange line, the 200 is the blue line. So the blue line acts as macro support. Once you break through it and get back above it, that is definitely a bullish indication. But right now we're below both. If we zoom in closer to the price action, we can see one thing. This orange line looks like it could be getting ready to do a bearish cross on that 200. If this has a continuation like this, and then the 200 continues like this, this bearish cross will continue that price action to the downside. So this is something to definitely pay attention to, because although Bitcoin's been putting in higher highs, at the current time of this recording, the total crypto market capitalization has not put in that higher high yet. This wick didn't even come back up and hold. So this is technically a lower high, but we haven't put in a lower low yet. So right now we're just in this channel. You have to be patient and wait. An update from El Crypto Prof. A monthly close above the moving average 10 line has confirmed the start of a new bull market for Bitcoin in 2015 and 19. It also broke this line to upside in March of 2023. This current line's being tested. So looking at this chart here, you see back in 2015, we bottomed out and got back above this MA10, this purple line, came back, retested it before we went up and blasted off. Same thing in 2019, we bottomed out, came back up, we retested it, like we had a bounce, but with the pandemic dump, we had this macro black swan event, but then ultimately blasted up. We got back above that moving average 10. Right now, at the current time it's recording, looks like it bottomed out. We broke above it and are currently retesting this line. Is Bitcoin going to hold this support and have a continuation going into the halving of next year? You be the judge, but if history's any indication, right now is an optimal buying opportunity. What's going on in the macro economy, in the housing market? What's going on is people don't feel like buying homes. The housing market has deteriorated rapidly. Buying conditions, seen at this level here, has only been seen 2 times since 1960. Once here and once here. People aren't buying homes. So Is this going to have any type of headwinds? Is the housing market going to cool off? Bitcoin is the hedge against debasement. Your houses are getting higher in value because of the debasement of the money that they get purchased in. So will we see a real pullback in the housing prices? Time will definitely tell. But either way you cut the cloth, looking here, this is the conclusion. All of these 5 asset classes are eventually going to pour into Bitcoin: gold, equities, real estate, debt, and base money. Once some of this, a small percentage even so, gets poured into Bitcoin, the price is going to go astronomically higher. And with that, let's finish hearing from Mike McGlone, and let's hear what he has to say is going on with Bitcoin and the dollar. Let's listen to Mike.
Here's the kind of thing I like pointing about the dollar is with the BRICS trying to get together. If you look at every currency in the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, over the last 10 years, they are melting currencies versus the dollar. The dollar is not perfect, but it's the least worst of those. And then we have this little war going on in Europe. To me, that's the trigger that is going to prove that the autocratic leadership and the problem in China is just going to do a little reversion like Soviet Union and Japan did. It's way overdue. And who's the shining star in all this? The U.S., who's the biggest producer and exporter of energy. The U.S., what was the problem last year in Europe? Energy and agriculture and the dollar. And I'm not, obviously I'm a Yank, but I'm just pointing out facts of trends. And then I'll end with this. Then you look at the most significant new technology on the planet over the last 10 to 14 years was cryptos. 90% of all so-called stable coins, almost 98%, have gone to the dollar. The dollar is the base layers for cryptos. Why? They could have gone to the yuan, the euro, the yen. They went for the dollar organically because it's the best place to go for transacting in currencies. And then there's things for investing. Bitcoin and gold are in that space.
So there you have it from Mike McGlone. Note one big caveat that he talked about there. Of all the currencies across the world, Bitcoin and the other cryptos could be denominated in what? All of them are denominated in the dollar. So are we going to get a pivot from the current system to the new system when the CBDCs roll out from the central banks and the governments? Is crypto going to be integrated with that system, and how so? Time will definitely tell. But what's your take on Mike's opinion? Once again, let us know what your thoughts are. Are we going to see lower price action for the Bitcoin price? As you see, we look here, it's like a rolling top. Remember, back in the 2021 bull market, what happened? We had this same rolling top pattern, and before we ultimately went down to lower price action. So pay attention to the charts. The trend's your friend until the end, and hodl strong. With that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. You guys like this content, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate the support. With that, that's all I have for you today. I'm out.